All right, you've seen him on PBS Everywhere, that travel film series, Rick Steves from Traveling Around. Welcome, I'm glad to have you. No, sorry, you just look so much like Rick Steves. So when's a good time to go to Portugal this year?
You know, it's always a good time to go to Portugal.
Ken Witt, president of the Jeffco School Board. Welcome. Let's dive right into it. You don't seem like an evil guy, but from what I've heard from the protests, there is a conservative majority that is hijacking Jefferson County schools. So, you know, congratulations on that. That's always a great thing. But let's go through this one at a time. The protests that have popped out come across about AP history and something about pay. So let's take the most important issue, AP history, because I lay awake at night worried about AP history. It is one of the burning issues of our time. People right there above unemployment, recession, environment, AP history classes are probably the most important thing in the world. What's the story?
Well, if you're going to be a history major, AP US history is very important. Just want to point out there are certainly groups out there that care a whole lot about it. And in fact, we should all care about history, especially US history, because it certainly informs our understanding of how this nation came to be and how it operates. So I'll put out that disclaimer because I do think it matters very much.
Just because I could never get into an AP class to save my life when I was in school. All right, but it seems to me this is a bit of a smokescreen for something else that teachers are upset about AP history. So let me ask you a couple questions. There is no review committee set yet. The meeting will be tonight, and this will air the day after. And no changes have been made to AP history. Is that right?
Oh, that's right. And in fact, no changes have been proposed to AP history. The proposal that was used to ignite this, if you will, is a proposal to sit a review committee so that this board can fulfill its Colorado constitutional obligation to oversee curriculum. We have to approve curriculum. The only reason that AP US history was in the list, was discussed in seating that curriculum review committee, was because it's timely. That US history framework was completely rewritten by the College Board. And this is the first year our students...
The College Board is what?
College Board is a nonprofit organization, private, that oversees the AP, that creates the AP course frameworks, including AP US history.
And their headquarters is in DC, if I recall.
I believe that's true as well.
In fact, former Governor Roy Romer works with the College Board right now. All right, so they put out this new curriculum, and a board member said, wait a second, I'd like to take a look at this. Is that all that has really happened? There's got to be more to it than that.
That's where we are. Now, you know, there was a proposal. We did discuss that proposal, and good ideas were moved back and forth about how it should be composed, what size the committee should be, and those sorts of things. But no decisions were made. Wording was, suggested for striking and changing, and we did not vote at that time so that we could move on with further discussion and eventually get to the right answer for a review committee. It's a reasonable proposal, and it's certainly in line with the board's obligation to oversee curriculum.
What's likely to happen? Will there be a review committee, and might that lead to changes?
I can't predict a board vote or a board decision until it occurs. As you know, that the next board meeting for whose agenda this is an element has not occurred yet.
By the time this airs tomorrow, we might have an answer.
By the time this airs tomorrow, we might have an answer. It is on the board for action, meaning that a vote could be taken.
What would you like to see?
I would like to see a good vehicle so that the board has proper input from a number of sources so that we can fulfill our obligation to ensure that our curriculum in Jeffco is balanced and thorough.
So you'd like to see a review of this?
I absolutely would like to see a review committee that helps us review curriculum as needed. AP US history, brand new framework, written by someone else, unreviewed by this district. I certainly think that's appropriate.
Would teachers be involved in this review committee if you had your way?
If I had my way, I would like to see some student input, some teacher input, and I'm sure we'll be talking about ideas for that tonight.
Right. And while I make fun of it as a smokescreen, I have a feeling it's salary issues that are really driving a lot of these sick outs and other things. So let me go through this. If I understand correctly, the board almost doubled the amount of money that was going to be used for pay raises this year. Is that correct?
We went from $11.7 million that had been the previous expectation, and we set aside $18.2 million for compensation increases across the district.
But you did something a little different this time. Could you explain that?
We did, and that's really the important element here. We said performance matters. If our objective is to have an effective teacher in every classroom, then we should ensure that our compensation system recognizes and rewards great teachers. So we instituted a compensation model that rewards our teachers. Effective teachers, all effective teachers are getting a raise. All highly effective teachers are getting an even larger raise. Even the 450 teachers that would not have gotten a raise under the union-backed proposal.
Hang on. Let me see if I got this. Under what the union wanted for compensation, there would have been 450 teachers that would have received no raise at all.
450 effective teachers that would have received no raise at all.
Under the proposal that you voted in, how many did not see a raise?
All effective teachers and highly effective teachers saw raises. Only a handful, I think 20-something teachers that were less than effective did not receive a raise.
If I understand, the teachers feel that this evaluation process is not the proper one, that it's great to have an evaluation, but for some reason this is the wrong evaluation, that this rating, they don't have a way to be part of the evaluation before it happens, and therefore you don't have the buy-in of many teachers on this new performance model.
Well, that's certainly unfortunate, because the performance evaluation system that we have presently in place was the one jointly developed by the JCEA and the district in the last evaluation design process. Full involvement of the JCEA, the teachers union, in that process. So they certainly were at the table to develop it. Now, does it need to be revised? Does it need to be refined and improved? Every evaluation system always needs to be improved, and this organization will continue to work on that. But the fact that an evaluation system is not perfect is no excuse for not managing performance. Every company in America manages performance based on evaluations.
This isn't a company, this is a government, and therefore the type of evaluations, I would imagine, would be very different.
They are different. In fact, our evaluation system involves classroom observation, right? Seeing a teacher executing the teaching process, checking off against, I believe it's a 29-element rubric, exactly what they're doing and if they're meeting the expectations. So again, it certainly is a different evaluation process than you would see in other places, but evaluation nonetheless, and performance should be rewarded.
Let's take a look at the sick outs. And this was certainly attention grabbing, which I'm pretty sure was the case. The union said they had nothing to do with this, although they support it. They didn't organize it. I find that a little hard to believe. Complete Colorado published an email that seems to show the otherwise. Who's behind the sick outs, or can you even say?
Well, we can only observe the facts. And the facts are that Carrie Dahlman, head of the Colorado Educators Association, addressed the National Educators Association on camera, explaining that they had brought in just a couple of months ago 48 operatives from other states to deal with Jeffco.
I want to repeat this, because I've heard this before and I've seen the video footage. So the nation, the NEA, the National Education Association, has helped arrange 48 operatives just to go into your district.
That's correct.
All right.
And a consultant was hired and funded by the NEA that specializes in organizing for protests and marches. This is not spontaneous.
Towards what end do you think? I mean, what is it that they're afraid of? Well, what is it that they wish to make happen?
Well, toward the intermediate end, it's exactly what we're seeing. Turmoil, lots of unrest and distraction. The long-term game, of course, is that we have, as a board, enacted a compensation system that is not the same as a union system that doesn't recognize performance. We want to make certain that performance is a component. We've talked about how important education reform is to make certain that we're moving forward on academic achievement, that we're moving the dial forward. And that organization, I believe, has resistance to reform. And I believe that as we come to the end of our contract with them and we work through the successor agreement, they want to make certain that they have been heard loud and clear.
The sick outs were certainly attention grabbing. Great for news, and if I were a kid in high school, I'd be happy to run out and protest and not be in class. But tell me your feelings about teachers using this as a tactic. You've got now several schools that have had to close, denying everyone in that school an education for the day, and your absentee rate coming in. You didn't have enough substitute teachers to make the doors go open. What changed to stop that?
Well, I can't speak for the organizations that are organizing this, so I can't say what changed from their perspective to stop that. I'd like to hope that we have, well, number one, I know we have wonderful teachers in Jeffco. This was a small percentage of teachers that sicked out, i.e. struck via calling in sick all at once with insufficient notice for the school to find substitutes. That's a very small percentage.
You use some really interesting terms there. They have to say they're sick because otherwise they're basically striking, and that's against their contract. The contract says that they'll be there. You already have, and I checked the numbers and did a quick calculation, about 10% absentee rates for teachers anyway, and it's higher on Mondays and Fridays, particularly Fridays. There's something about Fridays that the flu seems to catch more. Why does it have to be a sick day? And if you found out that people were not sick but calling in sick, what is the administration supposed to do with that?
The collective bargaining agreement actually has terms that say that they must provide proof of illness if they've called in sick. So they will be required to show proof of illness if a significant number of sicknesses were to occur simultaneously. And likewise, if they take a personal day, they must give 24 hours notice by the contract. So if they don't do those things, then pay could be docked. And the district has discussed that.
How is this playing out in the community? I know that the teachers have a lot of sympathy, particularly among families with kids and the kids themselves, but you've got families who had to take kids back those days. You had kids who did not have their lunch that day. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. You guys give free lunches to poorer kids, basically, and even reduce lunch prices or breakfast prices to help kids so that they're ready to learn. Those kids didn't have anything those days.
That's right. We have about a 35% free and reduced lunch population.
I didn't know it was that high. 35%. Wow. And so those kids went without food.
That would be correct.
What would you want to say to the teachers who are either sympathetic or went out on these strikes? What is it you think they're not understanding that you'd like them to understand? Because, in essence, you're all trying to do the same job. What's the miscommunication?
That's right. We're all about the same thing. And what is critical to understand is we want to recognize and reward our teachers that are doing a good job. We want to ensure that they're being compensated well and that they're being rewarded for striving for excellence. I know personally that their hearts are for kids, and for those that focus on that profession, we want to make certain that they're compensated and rewarded in their profession as well as we can for what they're doing. That should be the best environment to be in. I can't imagine wanting to be in an environment where your effort doesn't matter, where if you did well or if you did poorly, it's all the same. We'd like them to be fulfilled.
Let's go over a few of these rumors. I keep hearing about some conservative cabal taking over. The Koch brothers, by the way, have bankrolled all this. I don't know if you got the check from them or not.
I didn't.
You didn't? Well, when you do, would you let me know? Because I've been looking for that check myself. There's this talk of some sort of conservative group that's going to take control of this board and then change the curriculum in a way that is very un-American. Respond to the fears that I think the union is trying to put out there. That you guys are dangerous, you're extreme.
I've been a lifelong learner. I've been committed passionately to education throughout my life. And I believe that developing that passion for learning is something that our schools should instill in all of our students. And so, to me, it's about having balanced, excellent curriculum, great education for our students. I certainly have no interest and no tolerance for bias. We're looking for balanced, thorough curriculum.
There's some differences in the unions. I think a lot of the unions are scared that Jefferson County could do what Douglas County did, which is to put in a scholarship program to help some kids maybe find a private school if it's a better fit, or maybe that the union might not have a bargaining agreement at all, and teachers will be paid like the professionals they are and go. When they say you're just trying to Dougco Jefferson County, what's the response?
You know, I don't know everything that Dougco wants to do, so I can't even comment on how well or poorly aligned we are. But I can tell you that we're focused on what's right for Jeffco. We're focused on setting academic achievement goals that are better than how we're doing now and actually achieving those goals.
Less than a minute, on a personal level, I know this is a non-paid job, it's a lot of work. How tough is it to be in the center of this controversy right now?
Well, you know, I would say my deepest sentiment is a disappointment that we've taken children out of the classrooms, we've taken our students out of the learning environment, we've distracted the focus that should be on their academic achievement. I am anxious to see us return to focus on the fact that in Jeffco, 55% of our students are not college and career ready according to their ACT scores. That in Jeffco, we have a school where our 10th graders only 2% of them proficient at math. We have some great schools and we have great educational performance in Jeffco, but we have a real need to make academic progress.
Ken Witt, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. Thank you for listening. Listen for me on KHOW Radio, and talk to you next week.